Well, I mean, as you said, you just kind of left me hanging. I felt like a Netflix show. Tell me about your father, because maybe somebody hasn't heard that, because I think that is exactly what a lot of people are facing.
Well, yeah, my dad's case is interesting, and I think it's more common than folks would admit. So for anybody watching, especially if you're not a reverse mortgage candidate now because you're not old enough, but if you have somebody in your family who is, what I'm about to describe with my own father might sound familiar. Um, he bought a home in Fontana, 1979, brand new home, or not 79, 1999, brand new home from Presley, and it was in Fontana. I think the base price was around 130,
Wow.
and and after upgrading it a little bit and so forth and so on, it was 170. That's what he paid for it. Well, fast forward to the mid 2000s, around 2005, 2006. And I'm talking to him one day, and I learned a couple things. Well, first of all, in the home that he bought from Presley, I arranged the mortgage on it. It was at the time, mid 2000, 2005, 2006. It had a balance of about 125,000, and he was paying just under 1,000 a month to cover that mortgage. Um, but then, and he was kind of complaining about the fact that things were tight for him. Now, he was self-employed most of his life, so his Social Security check was not very high, because as a self-employed person, oftentimes you're not paying yourself a salary, so you don't have that to help beef up your Social Security benefits once you retire. He did work for a couple of companies briefly, and he had a very like $150 a month pension check from a company. And long story short, he was getting about $1,800 a month in income. That's all. Again, he was on a fixed income, and then half of that, more than half, was going to this, what we would consider a modest $125,000 mortgage. Well, then on top of that, what I found out, he was paying extra on the mortgage.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, well, Dad, okay, I've heard you kind of grumbling about how things are tight. You're having to pull money out of your investment account to live on. And yet you're now admitting you're paying extra on your mortgage. Why would you do that? Well, his explanation was, in his mind, logical. He said, well, I thought it's a good idea. I should do that so I can build up more equity so that you guys, meaning the kids, me, my brother, my sister, will have, access to, equity to, help take care of me when I get old. Now, mind you, at this time, he was 80 years old.
Okay.
So I was like, well, Dad, you're working at cross purposes here. You're complaining about not having enough monthly income to live on. You're having to tap into your investment account. It was a pretty modest account. It was about 300 grand as those things go. And then you're using more of your assets to pay extra into an asset that is illiquid. So yeah, you're building more equity, but it's not going to be easily accessible, particularly by your kids, us, because it's in the home.
Yeah.
So that's what led to the discussion I had with him about, you got to consider a reverse mortgage. And of course, like all senior homeowners, including my own father, a lot of misconceptions. Oh, no, I don't like that idea. That's just bad. And so I had to work through all that. But once I did, here's what we ended up doing. The timing was perfect, by the way. 2006, the peak of the market in terms of home values.
Yeah.
Well, that home at that point, only 7 years later, appraised for 445,000.
Holy smokes.
He had purchased it for 170. That allowed for, based on his age, he got a reverse mortgage for about 250, more than half the value, which today that wouldn't happen because the amounts you can get have been cut back for other reasons that we'll talk about on another show.